We'll go ahead. I'm going to drop my email in the chat for anyone and everyone. If you have questions, if something comes up, please reach out to me. And any feedback, you'll get a feedback email after this session. So you'll have an opportunity to review how we did today there as well. But if anyone has anything they want to talk more one-on-one with, happy to chat over email. All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and dive in for us today. So what we're looking at here, can everyone see my screen? Could I get like a thumbs up once it pops up? Awesome. Cool. Thank you guys. Y'all are so awesome. I think we have some newbies here or some first time event. Will this meeting be uploaded? Hi, Joseph. Yes, I am a little behind on getting the decks and the recordings back to y'all, but I will be sending along the one from last week and the one from this week together in one. So yes, it will be, but probably more towards the middle part of this week, Joseph. Thank you for asking. Good question. Good questions all around. Okay, so today we're talking about our resume and elevator pitches, and we're going to go through a few exercises for both of them. So we have our agenda, and then just catching us up from last time we all met. Our team is still working on the app, and we eventually will have a beta throughout October 2025. So we're thinking we're going to have launch over the next week, and then into the following few weeks, we'll have this beta version that we're kind of iterating and reaching out to a few of our users to get feedback on. So more updates to come from there once we have the official web page. But it's really exciting, y'all. We have gone over the app a few times here in these sessions, so I don't want to spend too much time, and we have so much more to get into later, but our Mentra 2.0 is really just going to be focused on your experience. So driving home all of these events, resources, free courses, areas for you to access that you can upskill in directly with our tech partners. And for those of you that might be newer, that is Amazon, Honeywell, and we're doing some work with Boeing, Salesforce, and Microsoft. So if anyone comes across any roles in those partners, feel free to send me over an email. But let's get started. There was one message in the chat. Just want to make sure. I was trying to sign in, but the site wasn't giving me access. Yes. We temporarily paused sign-ins for the launch, so we should be launching over the next few days. And you should get an email to log back in. So we did temporarily turn that off. Thank you for flagging that, Cassio. And then, John, you asked if there's anything potentially in Minnesota. That's a really good question. There absolutely is. I actually was just speaking with someone from Target and the Target corporate office, and I know that they're hiring for quite a few roles in tech. So yes, Cassio, your profile is still up. Good question. And then Munch also really good comment. Honeywell has a large presence in Minnesota. And then Shortbed Bowden asked a really good question. Why do employers want us, the neurodivergent? And I'm going to get into this a little bit more throughout the slides that we have here. But part of the reason is we bring a different element. We are out of the box thinkers who often demand answers in ways that other people don't think to ask questions in. And so that adds an important layer specifically for research, but for any organization that wants significant growth, having neurodivergent employees on their staff is going to be a really good team build. And the reason, so Perry also said, the reason would presumably be that we think about things in different ways, and the different ways of thinking can be valuable. Yes, exactly. And we're also multi-passionate people. So we may carry with us a few different levels of experience. I've talked to quite a few different people who have transferred industries. So there's also experience levels in there that might be of use in your newer industry. So there's a lot of things that we could bring a value to an employer. Yeah, and we also tend to be fairly resilient. That's a really good point, Munch. And when do we tell them? That's a good question. I would say it really depends on the relationship that you're building and when you need your accommodations. So if, for example, you need an accommodation for the interview, that is the perfect, time to tell them. But it also depends on what kind of employer it is. Is it an employer that is inclusive and you feel and they show signs in their corporate policy of being open and, embracing neurodivergent thought and open speech, then that certainly will be something that you can maybe approach with them earlier than maybe with other employers. So we'll come back into some of these questions a little bit too throughout the content, but if y'all have any questions, continue throwing them in the chat. I'm gonna keep going in the presentation and just keep us moving along into the resume portion. For those of you that don't know me, I am the community manager and our client success manager over here at Mentra, which basically just means I help you all hopefully feel passionate, excited, energized about re-entering the job force, and I help our clients get acquainted with what it means to bring on neurodivergent folks. I am neurodivergent myself, so I'm dyslexic, ADHD, I struggle with executive functioning, and I have quite a few of sensory overload challenges. My passion is birds. I am quite literally obsessed. So I have a podcast, I write, I create content, anything online about birds. You'll probably see me there or have seen me there, but I also host bird tours. So really full integration of passions into what it is that I do daily for you all here at Mentra. So moving in to our getting us started, I would love, love, love if you would all, in this order, write in the chat your name, a special interest, your LinkedIn profile, and a desired role. I know this is a lot to ask for, but I'm going to copy it and send it directly in the chat for you all so that you have as a guide as we go along. Probably, why isn't it copying? Here we go. Okay, so those are the points that we could talk about just for you all to get to know each other as we're going, because I shared a little bit of mine. All right. I also, now that I've got you all writing in the chat a little bit, and I'll give you another minute just to firm that up a little bit, but I want to know, has anyone been reaching out to recruiters on LinkedIn? And how has it been going? And feel free to come off mute as well if there's anyone that's been attending these and attended our networking workshop as well. Feel free to send through a thumbs up too. Let's see what we got, everyone. Yeah. All right, let's see. Ooh, nature, biking, software engineer. But haven't, okay, so Danielle said, I DM 2 recruiters, but haven't heard back yet. Plan to follow up mid-week next week. Woo, congratulations, Danielle. That is so exciting. I'm so happy to hear you reached out to 2 recruiters, and it sounds great that you're following up. Oh, Perry, editing Wikipedia. I do remember your fun fact from last time. Joe, you reached out and spoke with a recruiter from Manpower. Congratulations, everyone. Send through an emoji react for Joe. That's awesome. Ooh, stand-up comedy, rock climbing, art. Y'all are so cool. This is awesome. So many diverse passions and interests. All right, I'll keep reading through those as y'all send them through. Uh, Got some crypto, gaming, hiking. Cool. All right. So up next for Mentra, we have our Career Clarity series that's going to launch. So you'll notice we'll be taking themes. For those of you that were a part of our beta group, we'll be taking themes from that email series and trickling them down into this video series. And we'll be hosting these every Monday as an opportunity for y'all to continue upskilling and growing and sort of learning about new employers. All righty, everyone. Let's get into the resume of it all. But we've got 10 messages, so stand-up comedy, music and ice hockey, video games, surfing, internet, rock climbing. I plan on interviewing with a recruiter that DM'd me. Oh, that's awesome, Hannah. That's so cool. Sharing your LinkedIn. Ian said film or music, art and animation, puzzles, communications, QA automation. Oh my gosh. Wow. Y'all are so interesting. You have such interesting backgrounds. Thank you so much for dropping that all in. Getting into our resume, I want to ground us on what a traditional resume is because anything when neurodivergent folks are involved becomes untraditional. And I want us to embrace the theme of that a little bit. So, for those of you that went to the networking workshop, you heard some of the same things I'm going to talk about here, but the things that are traditional for neurotypical folks do not have to be traditional for us as neurodiverse folks. We are allowed to be different and show that difference trickled throughout every area of our life. And my friends, one area of that is the resume. So, traditional resume, 1 to 2 pages, outlines our candidate's professional background in a clear and standardized format. Its goal is to communicate qualifications to employers and recruiters. Now, this is, to a certain extent, we do have to lean into this. Unfortunately, there are bots involved that reinforce this sort of approach. However, there are ways that we can diversify within it. So I want to talk about those ways that we can diversify a little bit. So here are a few key components that feed into a resume. So you have your contact information up at the top, you have your highlights, your areas of expertise, skills, your education, and your work experience. So these kind of 5 to the left are things that you'll commonly see on a resume. However, there are other things that you can throw in, such as languages, proficiencies, whether that be in this case, most commonly in tech, we're talking about like Python or something, some sort of technology that you have proficiency in. However,
Flunk if you're into security.
there we go. Exactly. Yeah, security. That's a good point, Munch. Passions, you can also drop in. So all of those amazing interests that we just talked about, there's a way for us to integrate that into your resume. So, how can we show a resume? Because we look at resumes today as this sort of like 1 to 2 page, but are there other ways that we can showcase our work? Absolutely. One of those ways, and is my favorite way, as you can tell, because it's something that I do with my free time, but it's a social media page. Is there a social media page where you document and you are consistent posting about your interests? Maybe you have a YouTube channel that you created for fun. Maybe like anything. Maybe you have a GitHub that you created that you wanted to house I don't know, some sort of list of bots that you thought were interesting. Anything along those lines that sort of showcases your ability to really lean in and build something. It could also be your LinkedIn page. Are you posting consistently? Are you commenting on other people's content? James, I've been seeing you so active on LinkedIn and I love to see it. That goes for everyone. I should at this point be connected with most of you on LinkedIn, but if you don't have my LinkedIn, I'll drop it in towards the end of our chat. The next thing, and this is particularly for my techies and for people who have multiple different GitHubs, multiple different link outs to where it almost ends up looking too complicated on your resume, a link tree, my friends. You can develop a link tree, and basically what this is it's a set of different links that will showcase your performance in the workplace or in the skills that you're trying to already show within or to this recruiter. You can also have a portfolio that, of course, is more traditional. So that could be a series of images. If you're a graphic designer, maybe it's a series of works that you've poured into. Maybe it's a website. So I have that listed down here. A link tree can also operate as a website, which is really cool if you don't have one or don't have the skills to build one. And the last thing that I want to mention, or one of the last things, is a conversation. Yeah, a conversation can literally be your resume. So I've talked a lot about networking and how you can use networking as a form of resume, but really using your elevator pitch to elevate what you've done and what you've worked on and tailoring that to the audience. So we'll get into that in a second, but just getting inventive about how you can display something, like a skill about yourself will really be supportive in and showcasing your work. So I want to get us into some resume sharing, and we have a first volunteer. So Sahid, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And then at the bottom, I'm going to put on a timer, and you'll have about a minute and a half to just share your resume. I don't want us to do an overview necessarily of talking about it because I want people to hear or to get like the direct overview of what or the way that your resume lands with an audience, and then we can start giving you some feedback. So go ahead and start sharing. So
Okay, please bear with me. Let me quickly bring it up. I think I closed it earlier on.
of
So,
course.
okay, and share my screen. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yep, able to see your screen.
Oh my goodness, where's it again? Please bear with me. All right. Are you able to see it now?
Yes, yep, we can
Okay,
see your resume.
thank you very much. That's my resume for Sahid Oyedele. I'm a two-side professional. I'm a data analyst. I'm also a cybersecurity engineer, a cybersecurity analyst as well. So before my team was dissolved in Wells Fargo in June, I was a data analyst. So I'm a developer and I'm really good using Python as well to create all the algorithms based on the business needs. If the business needs, they want development, they want the data to be visualizable, to be readable via Power BI or Tableau, I can do that. And if they want me to use algorithms like multiple linear regression, clustering, or I have to put in a lot of algorithms and I have to write Python. And luckily, those algorithms are available everywhere now. I can find them and get that done for them to get the insight for business needs as well. So that's my reason we're working with Wells Fargo. I was with Spectrum Business before, so doing a technical support analyst. The roles is similar, creating SQL. Yes, database I love SQL a lot. They want, especially when we want to do a live dashboards, connecting a database to visualization tools, and so that's where my divergent everything comes in. Then if there's no match, if there's a problem with the QC or QA, then I know how to dive deep into the database and find the anomalies and why we are not getting the rightful figures. So for them, I did that for innovation as well, working with PSA, which is owned, completely owned, also owned by American Airlines. So, looking into the flight safety record using SQL and Excel to uncover operational risk trends. It's all about getting all the data readable by the leadership so that they can make decisions. I don't make decisions. I make things easy for them to make decisions. And then compliance as well. That's the area. We have to look at the KPI, KRI, make sure that we are not running, trying to violate the regulations. The regulations where they are watching. So those are very, very important as well. So these are the technical skills: SQL, Python, Pandas, NumPy. Yeah, those ones are together. Snowflake, MySQL, Postgres, ETL. Yes. Based on the business needs. Yes, I use them, but sometimes you don't use it again for another 1 year unless there's business need and you go back to it, depending on the project. So that's me in a nutshell. So I did not, yeah, from here, I did not talk about my cybersecurity expertise. This is purely my data analytics skill set.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing your resume, Sahid, and for a little bit of an overview of what you're doing. I think that this is definitely, or this falls in line with one of our standardized resumes. So if you scroll up a little bit, Sahid, this is the lovely example. So you see like the section where we were talking about contact information is the front portion. We've got a professional summary, we've got a chunk of experience, technical skills, and then education. Your resume is extremely technical. One area that I think might be helpful is in consolidating some of the bullets.
Okay.
I think it could be interesting if you started off with similar to how you did your technical skills, how you started off with an overview of what to expect. So, kind of data analysis and visualization. If there are specific points that you've done that in each of these roles, like dropping in that overview right before the metric is going to be super, super helpful for your reader in knowing where you are really able to express those skills.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I understand what you say. I have a couple of resumes here. It's like a dictionary. Now you've just shared few things with me. I will inculcate that, my future
Yeah.
resume.
This looks great. This looks great. And then, I mean, one way we can differ a little bit too is if you were to add in maybe some of your personality. So, do you have a
Mhm.
passion that maybe you could drop in here to your skills, or maybe that links out to your skills? I know that. Yeah, I'll leave that question with you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll look. So yes, I will say I can mingle that one. I can, I'm just being careful, because most of my application goes to this non-traditional employers. So, we don't give them. I don't want to give them any trace unless they ask for it, because I don't want to be in the job market forever. I got to be tactical. So, but I've had to. I say, all right, what can I do to that as well?
Yeah, wow, this is definitely an impressive resume.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right, Ziggy, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
I did get a few resumes here in chat, so we're gonna go ahead and start with Perry's next, and then we have a volunteer as tribute for his. All right, so can you see the resume that I have here?
I can see it.
Amazing. All right, Perry. So we're going to break down your resume in a similar way. So up front here, we have the content section or the contact information. We have your education, we have your skills, and we have your.
Various projects. I just had struggled a bit about what projects to include because there are so many different things in Wikipedia I did that could be considered a project. I wanted to include a school project, some programming stuff, some technical writing stuff, and both school and personal projects, and both programming and technical writing. Done formal education and technical writing aside from one throwaway class I took, but I've done a bunch of it via Wikipedia. So,
That's
and then
amazing.
yeah, I include some links too where relevant.
And okay, so I know this was the one that you mentioned. There was a metric that you mentioned last time. It was like 150,000. Was it
That's further down.
further down? Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. All right, y'all. Get this. So Perry has made over 100,000 edits on Wikipedia. That is like, isn't that a shocking number? So impressive.
Count according to Wikipedia is 119,000 on the English Wikipedia itself, and if you include related sites like Wikimedia Commons, the site that documents the stuff that went to Wikipedia, etc., 182,000.
Yeah, so when we're talking about like projects and things that we have going on that might be a little bit more like outside or what feel like outside of the box, this is like perfect placement, Perry, for those passions, for those interests. I almost think that you might be able to move this bullet farther up, or particularly maybe even swapping this activity section to be up here.
I wrote my resume following a template provided by the Co-op and Career Institute at Wentworth Institute of Technology. I think they said to put things in that order, but that was while I was still in school, and I made only minor modifications after I graduated. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I'd be happy to move activities. Just move the entire section up to the top immediately after the contact info unchanged.
yeah, in the same note, using bold in resumes is really, really going to help your reader because as a recruiter, I have 1 minute to look in at your
Wow.
resume. And if there aren't areas that are bolded, I might just look at this and the first thing I read is maybe, can anyone give me an example of the first thing that they saw when they looked at Perry's resume? For me, I think it might have been education,
Yeah,
but know,
I say I graduated with highest honors very early on, so at least there's some merit though.
absolutely, absolutely. There's so much merit. I would even recommend moving activities up to the very top and moving education farther down because once you have your degree, they want to see what you're doing with it.
True. I said,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to only. I guess I'm going to put activities at the top. I'm going to keep education below activities though, because all the experiences, internships that were part of the process of graduating from Wentworth. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think you should bold 100,000 edits.
100,000. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Any metric on your resume. So anything that like any, let's say any number. It would be a good idea to bold those and then also have a little brief up front. Kind of think about it like a chapter title, just so that they know what they're about to read. So, for example, for this section, we could say edited in bold and then a semi or a colon. And then you have the next portion unbolded.
Let's see, so could I just delete made over, like go down to the activities section again? Could I just delete made over and start with 100,000 edits in bold? I should also update that. To 110,000 edits because that is outdated. But
Oh, yeah. Usually we'll want like actionable language at the upfront. So something like, but as long as you have like edited, like that you did that work for those 100,000,
yes,
then I
I did
think.
definitely. Okay, some of those edits were made using scripts that I didn't create, but
They
there
were-
are some people who make enormous numbers of edits using various automated tools. Like there's one high profile former admin who made 2 million, who made almost 3 million edits, then she was banned from editing.
We also have another really good suggestion in the comments from James that it might be a good idea to even start building a portfolio on the side that you can drop these projects in. I mentioned a link tree earlier. That might be a really good place to hold all of it.
Okay, yeah, I have a lot more projects I couldn't include too. I wanted to keep this to one page, so I omitted several.
Yeah, definitely. Then definitely a portfolio is gonna be a good migration off. And then you can probably remove some of these too and highlight so that you can highlight further like just this, I mean,
Yes, I was a big contributor to Stack Overflow in the early days. I still do it from time to time, so present isn't technically inaccurate because I haven't made any formal decision to stop contributing, taking up more of my time, so I've had less time to do other things.
yeah, absolutely.
I have various projects, including most of which are on Wikipedia itself, but I figure those are the sort of things you would write in a resume in the other context. So
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely maybe try to merge them a little bit if you can. And then but I do like the idea of keeping your resume to one page, so you will want to try and aim for that, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a full page either. That's the other thing. If you are hesitant towards using something like bold or underline, then I would definitely recommend almost doing like 3/4 of a page, just so your user has white space to read in between.
I'm happy to. But I'm thinking I might create splits, move some of these projects to another page, and then say see more projects, and then going to say see more projects here.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea because you can link directly. And that goes for everyone. If you have a long list of projects in your resume, link out. And then
I deliberately included at least one link in every single project except the full cleanup bot project, which I could link to the source code repository, but I doubt anyone looking at my screening my resume will be that interested in reading source code. So there's nothing else really to link to because everything's deep in the bowels technical discussions. But the project itself, I felt, though I didn't intend it to be this way, I started doing this project not to have something to show off on, but because I was concerned that I didn't do it, it ended up being done in a sloppy, haphazard way that I didn't want. So I did that, and then it turned into an unexpected demonstration of how programming challenges work and how real world programming doesn't go according to plan. I've used it as an example several times.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's really, really great context. And thank you for sharing, Perry. We have to move into our next resume. We have time for probably one more, and then we'll talk over elevator pitches. I want to share with you all what an elevator pitch can look like. And then we'll go through some. So, Paul, I know I got your volunteer request, so you're welcome to take over screen share. We have about like a minute and a half. So if you want to start screen sharing your resume and then we can just take a look together.
All right, fabulous. Let's see if this, oh, wait, it's not gonna work.
Awesome photo, Paul, by the way.
Oh, yes, yeah. When you log into a Zoom meeting, who doesn't want to see a dog wearing glasses? That's, that's my whole rationale for that. Okay, that's green. Okay.
All right, maybe recents.
There we are. Yes. Okay. So here's my resume. Pretty much the same standard format that everyone else is probably using here. I've got my profile summary up at the top. I bolded some things such as I want you to see 9 years of experience leading multi-million-dollar initiatives, and I want you to see that I've done mentoring and hiring. The first thing that's on my resume is actually, well, it's my survival job since I got canned from my last job. Let's put it that way. But it gives me something to talk about. People are always somewhat interested in rare coins at a certain level because because. So I also talk about I was a staff engineer at a startup. I was I basically did it all. Somebody commented when I was talking to them about this, like, you wore multiple hats. I'm like, I wore all the hats. All of the hats were on my head at the same time. And then prior to that, I took a purposeful sabbatical where if you notice the timing, that's about when the world started blowing up from COVID. And then I talk about my experience at Yelp, where the the thing that I did there that I think had the most impact was if you go to Yelp, open the app, your favorite restaurant on Yelp, if there's a health score listed there, it's because I put it there. And I drove that project myself. That was $2.5 million project. And then I talk about my experience in real estate tech. This is Hearsay Systems. It's a social media compliance platform, and then some older stuff. The bit about fiber optic switches there is kind of the most interesting stuff to me anyway. But I don't know who else is interested in that. And then my skills section, my education section. Education is at the very bottom because, well, I mean, for someone with 9 years, that is basically a checkbox. Are you educated? Yes, no. And my skills section, I try to, this is a generic sort of resume. It's not tailored to anything. So I try to keep a list that covers a breadth of what I've, things that I've done. So, and
Yeah.
oh, I forgot it up at the top. Yeah, you got my phone number, you got my LinkedIn. I don't know why my GitHub not on there. I might put my GitHub, but there we go.
This looks phenomenal, and I mean, it has a lot of the pieces that we were talking about throughout this call and emphasized throughout some of the bolding. I do love the bolding that you did with the staff software engineer. There might be some opportunity to relay that onto the founder and principal. I'm definitely going to pronounce that correctly. Numismatist, is that correct?
You got it. That's right.
Wow. There might be some opportunity there. And then also with your sabbatical, I'm sure there were some cool things you worked on, which it sounds like the Raspberry Pi networking. If you want to like elaborate on how that might have like optimized your own personal life, maybe like putting in stats there could even be interesting. Do you think there's opportunity for that?
I think there is. The only problem is that at that point, you're looking at a space issue. I already have 2 full pages, and I would really love to actually cut some of that stuff, except it leaves big holes where recruiters were going to wonder if I was in prison. So
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, I don't think we have as much time, but I could actually see use case for maybe slimming down on some of the content and some of the bullets. But I'd be happy to have our team, and this goes for everyone. I'm gonna drop in my email. We'd be happy to have our team take a look at resumes and give more like tailored feedback. So that is the email. And
Okay.
thank you so much, Paul, again for sharing. Sorry we had to run it a little bit quicker.
Nope, no problem.
And y'all, that's a really good example of a resume too that uses that bolding. So you noticed how there were some areas where like the overarching theme was bolded, but then in addition to that, the metric itself was bolded and sometimes it's italicized. So there are fun ways that you can play around to draw the eye exactly to what you want the recruiter to see.
Yeah, I used to. I combine bold and italics within the body of the descriptions because that distinguishes it from the headings.
That's a really good way to draw attention. Amazing. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.
All right, everyone. Well, let's get into some elevator pitches. Is everyone, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I think there was a question and I might have missed it. Shortbed Bowden, did you have a question? I know you raised your hand, but we were getting into the next resume. So I just wanted to make sure you were.
I didn't have a question. I had something to add to your conversation, and that is that currently in college enrolled, they are encouraging us to use e-portfolios. And so that is something that people that are already in the workforce, that's a barrier that you're going to have to cross. So it is a really good idea, as you suggested, to keep track of these projects and have them on display somewhere. I just wanted to add. I didn't have a question. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for adding that. It's a really good point. I am curious too to see if portfolio will at some point be our number one driver for resumes and looking for candidates. But that's awesome. All right, everyone. So for our elevator pitches, these are brief, persuasive. We don't necessarily have to think about them as speeches, but that's how they're defined as. Think about them as blurbs. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be great. They just have to be done. All right. So they're usually 30 seconds to 2 minutes long, designed to communicate quickly and clearly who you are, what you do, and why it matters. But here's the thing that no one tells you about elevator pitches. One, they're personalized to each individual that you meet. So you might have an overarching elevator pitch, but it's going to evolve or should evolve based on the person that you meet. Now, you might notice at the beginning you're using the same elevator pitch across every single person. That's totally normal. You don't need to have like 10 different elevator pitches, but those, just know that those will evolve with time. So just letting yourself lean into, what you've tailored thus far. So having true elevator pitch, yes, as I mentioned, comes to life the 30th time that you deliver it. So be proud of your first version. We all start somewhere. Don't be afraid to bring more of you into your elevator pitch. So the goal behind this is we're not looking at paper anymore. We're looking at you're often in front of someone, a multifaceted person. So you're allowed to bring that to the forefront. And I encourage you to do so. So I want us to just think about the last time you were somewhere where someone was giving an elevator pitch or someone was telling you about what they do. What did you remember about them? What did they say? How did they make you feel? And try to hold on to some of those markers for yourself when you're building your own elevator pitch. Allow yourself to be memorable. It's okay for them to, there are so many times where I go to events and they're like, oh, the bird girl, the bird girl. Do I love being called the bird girl? Secretly, yes. But I'm also other things. But that one thing, my passion, allows people to recognize me. And so there are ways that you might be able to do that. My best friend loves Legend of Zelda. That's a way people remember her. And it can be applicable even in the work context. And then finally, elevator pitches are not perfect and they are often told with a shaky voice. So even though if it feels like you're like, I'm not doing it right, my elevator pitch isn't good, this person can do it on the fly perfectly, guess what? They're not. They're nervous. They're feeling it everywhere. They're just not showing it. Or maybe they've gotten really good at hiding it. So the traditional points that we see in an elevator pitch are the introduction, our value definer, which basically just means why am I in front of you today? Why am I talking to you today? What can I bring to their table, so to speak? It includes the goal or ask or your goal. We can also call it a dream, which I love to call it. Sorry, we've gotten a few messages, so I just want to. Wolfram language is a must. Oh, I've never heard of Wolfram language. My apologies, John. We did have to move into elevator pitches. Ooh, Dave. All right, I will go ahead and download your elevator pitch. Thank you so much for sharing. And then I'll read through this. So everyone, feel free to drop in your elevator pitch in the chat. And I'm happy to read it through if you don't feel comfortable reading it out loud. Then we'll have opportunity to read it out loud we have a few minute windows. But here's the thing. As I said earlier on this call, we are neurodivergent. We are allowed to do things differently, and it's okay to do things differently. In fact, we should. So this is the traditional elevator pitch, and this is our elevator pitch. So what are we allowed to trickle in there? We're allowed to trickle in our at-home life, our weaknesses, our values, our passions, our dreams. All of these things characterize who we are, and they aren't necessarily to tell a story that is it's not often like I need a job is how you're sort of ending it, but sharing how they can help you get to that goal or ask can often be the goal too of an elevator pitch. So these are some of the things that you can trickle in. I want to give you all an example of my elevator pitch that I often use. So because I attend about 3 to 4 networking events a week. So this varies literally minute to minute, and person to person. But for me, it goes something along these lines. So, hi, I'm Steph. I've been creating content online and building community before I could even remember. Because of my experiences in spaces that didn't fit me, I am an ADHDer, which means I'm autistic and dyslexic. Usually that gives me a giggle laughter, usually a nervous laughter, because I don't know how people are going to respond to that. I share I'm extremely skilled and passionate about helping others find their place. Today, I don't just make this vision come to life in my influencing. I also work at Mentra, a startup based in San Francisco with a small but mighty team. We help neurodivergent folks get placed in tech roles and educate big tech on the community's needs. So this upfront part does a few things. It tells you who I am, why I'm doing the work that I'm doing, or not necessarily why, but what world I envision. So it gave you my goal. And now we're going to move a little bit into the ask part. So right now we're building our team to host more events across recruiter and candidate spaces. I'm aiming to bring on 2 team members before the end of the year, and we'll soon be growing. So this gives them an opportunity to ask me questions about what that growth looks like, about how they can help me. And it also gives me the opportunity after those questions to say, and how you could help me is ... If you know anyone who's looking for roles, if you know anyone who is excited about events, if you know an insert whatever it is that you might be needing at that point in time, if it is a job, you could say, I'm looking for new roles in a space that invigorates me, that excites me, that makes me feel more myself. And that allows them to know, okay, what's the next step in this conversation? Likely about roles, likely about how they can bridge that gap for you. Oftentimes people want to help, it's just that they don't know how to. And so making it super, super, super easy for someone to say, oh, this is how I can help. I can do that in 2 seconds by a few words, or making a connection on LinkedIn. So this is my script. I'm going to read down a few that we got here in chat. I'm starting with Dave. Thank you, Dave, for sending yours along. Can everyone see my screen? And Dave, would you like me to read yours, or would you prefer to read through your own?
Yeah, I'm fine reading it if that serves you well.
Perfect. Go ahead, Dave.
All right. So, hi, my name is Dave Culp. I'm an analytical problem solver who turns complex data and messy workflows into clean, repeatable wins. I pair deep technical curiosity with a calm, systematic approach. I ramp up quickly, isolate the root causes, then create and deliver original solutions that hold up under pressure. My track record is simple. Learn quickly, raise the bar, and then leave the system measurably better than I found it. I'm looking for an innovative, autonomy-friendly team in data science, healthcare consulting, or research and development that wants a trusted partner to tackle its most challenging analytical problems and objectively verify the lift.
You're speaking on mute, Steph.
I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry, I was speaking on mute. Mute. Dave, this is a phenomenal resume. Have you had the chance to use it in networking spaces much?
No, I don't. I haven't been really in a lot of situations where I'm elevator pitch savvy, where you're just spending limited time. So most of my interactions have been actual interviews. So kind of skip over the down and dirty and go right into the, resume and beyond.
Yeah. I mean, this is a phenomenal elevator pitch. I'm curious to see how it would come to life if you were to go to something that felt like a networking event. And I'm even thinking about Mentra hosting something along those lines so that we can see that come to life.
Okay, cool.
Oh, awesome. We could definitely do something like that. So I'll send along invites for that. Thank you. Thanks, Dave.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Of course. We have Daniel's next. And Daniel, would you like to read yours, or would you prefer I?
Either works.
I say if you're on voice and you feel comfortable, you've got the floor.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm a technical PM with experience supporting successful IT migrations, optimizing processes,
I'm still seeing Dave's on the screen. Is that intentional?
Yeah, I'm not sharing.
Or you're just reading on, there's no text to see? Just wanted to make sure. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, okay. I'll continue. Steph, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead and continue. My apologies. I'll drop it in.
All right, cool. So I was saying I'm a technical PM with experience supporting successful IT migrations, optimizing processes towards efficiency and reducing costs, and leading feature customization and delivery for content management system platform. My strength lies at aligning business and engineering teams, mitigating risks early, and delivering solutions that balance security, scalability, and business impact. I'm now focused on finding roles where I can grow into an early career role in product or cyber and risk management, where I can build on my technical and program management foundation and keep developing hands-on expertise.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. Okay, so this communicates every single step that we were looking for in an elevator pitch. Does anyone want to offer up a question that you might be able to ask Daniel from his elevator pitch? What I think we can do too is, Peter, if you'd like to come off of mute, you can do your elevator pitch in response. And then I'd love to hear, Daniel, if you could reply in kind to Peter's. What do you think? What do you think about that, y'all?
That'll work. Let's keep going.
Yep.
Amazing, amazing. All right, this is great. Thank you so much, Daniel. Yeah, we'll continue to host workshops for another opportunity to share your elevator pitches. Amazing. All right, Peter, go ahead. All right. It looks like Peter may have dropped. Oh, James, you asked, could we send you this example? Dave, do you feel comfortable with us sharing your template?
Yeah, that's fine. I have no problems.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, James, we can absolutely send it along. And then Patrick, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you to read yours.
Absolutely. Patrick, also known as Munch and MacGyver. They started calling me MacGyver when I worked as a tech writer at Motorola for my combination of logic and intuition that I bring to problem solving. Took my first programming class in middle school, got to 8th grade, and it was me and two math teachers who'd ever used a computer. So I became the student help desk before that was a thing, and have kind of been the help desk for friends and family ever since. Have over a decade of professional IT support experience, benchmarked with a decent palette of certifications. My secondary skill set's communications, and I've done a fair amount of teaching and training, and also have created both written and multimedia documentation using narrated screen capture videos with Cam Studio and QuickTime.
Phenomenal. Munch, I can tell that you've been surfacing your elevator pitch around a few times. It feels very, very comfortable as you speak it out loud. Would you say that that's sort of your experience with elevator pitches?
Yeah, that's correct. And one of the people I recommend on my LinkedIn profile is the guy who first started calling me MacGyver when I worked at Moto. Because, it's important to acknowledge people who've helped you with personal branding.
Yeah.
So here's the real question. How many nuclear reactors have you built out of duct tape, a screwdriver, and the contents of a janitor's closet?
Yeah, I probably should have made it a lowercase MacGyver instead of a capital MacGyver.
This is awesome. Yeah, and
the lowercase. Have built guitar pickups and guitar pedals, and have built my share of computers. So,
Munch, there's just one piece that I would love to hear from you in your pitch, and I'm curious how it would develop. How could your listener help support you?
I'm especially looking for IT support positions in the K through 12 and higher ed IT verticals. I've got about 4 years of experience in those. I'm a former high school teacher and the son and grandson of high school teachers. So it
Okay.
kind of runs in the blood.
That's awesome. That's awesome. A legacy then. Okay. Well, I think I would love from you all. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to send you the deck and a recording of this call. And you'll also get a call from last week, even if you didn't attend our our workshop then. But this has been so lovely, y'all. I hope that it helps sort of refine and cater both your resume and your elevator pitch. One quick thing that I'd love to leave us on is this template that you all can use to build out your LinkedIn connections. And thank you, Joe. The content, yes, Cassio, thank you for asking. The content of this presentation will be available. I'm taking a little bit of time to edit and send it your way, but I'm going to try and get the one from last week and this week to you before the end of this week. We're going through our launch right now, so we've been all hands in the air a little bit over here at Mentra, but we're really hoping to get them back down on the ground, feet on the ground, and getting you all the support that you need. So next week, we'll be doing a little bit of a different series that we'll be starting off. So we're gonna do a session all about finding companies and organizations that align with you and what you are looking for, what you are passionate about, and sort of putting you in the driver's seat of your career, hopefully taking some of that power back a little bit. So we're excited to be continuing to host those, and you'll hear more as you attend these about the Mentor 2.0 product. And now we continue to build that out and hopefully share launches of the app once that is ready. If y'all have any feedback for me, anything you want to see, anything that you thought we should have shown but didn't show today, I just dropped in my email, and then I believe I dropped in my LinkedIn from earlier as well. But if anyone doesn't have it, feel free to send me an email with that. I just want to flag for you all the roles that we are specifically hiring for on the Mentor platform. So we have data center technician, both for Amazon and for Microsoft. So if this role interests anyone, especially reach out to me. And then Honeywell is hiring for, I have never seen a program hire so expansively for internships, but y'all, they literally touch every single bucket of internship. So if you're looking for one, they've probably got them, and they're doing recruit for them now too. So this is a great time to get in there early, hopefully. So, but we're also hiring for any other roles at Honeywell, Amazon, and Microsoft. So if you come across roles, we'll be happy to submit them for you and make that recruiter connection. And then just any last questions that came up, I will email you. Yes, Cassio, email me. Honeywell is expanding pretty significantly in Brazil, and they have quite a few recruiters down there as well. So you never know. Thanks, James, for joining. And yeah, thanks everyone for coming on here. If you have any questions, my email is in the chat. You should have my LinkedIn as well, but I'll drop it in just to be sure. And feel free to get connected with me. Go through my LinkedIn connections list. If there is anyone that you're like, this person looks cool, I would like to work for them. This person looks cool, they're hiring, whatever it might be, reach out to me. I just dropped my LinkedIn in the chat. Thanks, Cassio. And Peter, no worries on the audio. Hopefully we can hear you next time. And thanks so much, everyone, for attending. I hope to see you all next week, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing Monday. You all are doing amazingly. You're getting yourself out there. These are networking chats. You networked today. Check that off on your box. Very proud of you, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day, everyone. Have a good night. Oh, cute puppy Dave. Thanks, everyone. I'll be on here if you have any questions to hang out. So thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Bye. Thanks.